one is a rezoning request by James Warren, for two parcels totaling 0.73 acres, located at 202 Denmark Street. You might also recognize this property from a previous request a couple months ago, which was for a character area amendment change, where it was established residential character area. It is now community activity center character area. You might remember a couple months ago, the purpose of that change was to make the property eligible for commercial zoning, and here we are. So they're requesting to rezone from R-6 to C-C. There is no proposed specific use other than to be able to market it for commercial usage. A lot of the rationale and basis that was discussed back at the character area change, as a refresher, staff was opposed to the character area change. Staff remains opposed to the rezoning change that we are here for today. To give you a refresher on the property, aerial image, you see the junkyard that is to the west. That is the commercial area along Ulmer Avenue connected to South Patterson. You see the pattern on this side of the line. One thing that has changed a little bit is the subject property. The character area change involved 3 parcels, which is the 2 that are the subject for this evening, plus a very narrow property owned by Lowndes County that borders to the east. Lowndes County is not part of the zoning change, even though they were part of the character area change. So a slight change in geography, and I think the difference is 0.05 acres. Some photographs, these are updated from a couple months ago. Subject property still looks largely the same. An auto repair, salvage kind of operation is there. It has a history of commercial usage for many years. Remember before we talked about that we believe that the commercial usage of this property started before the county's adoption of zoning back in 1972. Remember, this was an unincorporated island. It had multi-family residential zoning in the county. And then when it was annexed, it was given what was the multi-family zoning of the city at that time.
Thank you for speaking.
So the zoning on the property for 52 years has always been residential, even though we believe the use of commercial predates that probably by a few years. Some other pictures of the property, lots of vehicles there in the front yard, and then wrapping around the cul-de-sac looking to the west. As you look eastward down Denmark Street toward Ulmer Avenue, you see going into the residential neighborhood, zooming in, you see some of the residential uses that are lining the street. And more notably, directly across the street to the south and the back side of the cul-de-sac is the back side of a church facility that has been there also for a number of years. In the aerial image, you can see that on the rooftop. And then a very large cul-de-sac in front of the street. This is looking west into the commercial property along South Patterson, which is beyond the trees. I won't belabor the point with all the additional rationale that's there in your packet. The applicant and the representative are here, but I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for staff?
I got one. I know we got several cases left, but I got one more. Are you planning on keeping, is he planning on keeping exactly what's there presently, or totally change?
Applicant would be better to answer that one.
Okay. Carry on.
Matt, the zoning requested, C-C. Can you tell me a little bit about that, what's allowed in that?
Community commercial is an all-purpose, it's the middle commercial zoning district, that all forms of retail, offices, retail services are allowed. The main difference between C-C and CH is the heavy automotive uses like body shops, warehousing, things like that, more intensive uses in the commercial spectrum. A comparison I like to use is the Valdosta Mall and everything around the mall. That is all C-C use. Restaurants, clubs, all forms of retail, office, a very broad zoning district. It also allows multifamily at very high density. That's one thing that CH does not allow.
And not to be flippant, but what's going to happen to that 0.5 that's not included in this as well?
That is county-owned property, it's government-owned, the county can do whatever they want with it.
Okay, just. Thank you.
All it really amounts is if the zoning is changed, we're
someone here that would like to speak in favor of this case, please step forward.
Evening, Commissioners. Bill Nigel, 1007 North Patterson Street. Here on behalf of the applicant. So this is round two. Character area change, we're back for the rezoning. Of course, we've got a commercial building, commercial use for decades. And so, need to find a commercial zoning classification if we can legally use it that way. So the owner can legally use it that way. Wanted to give you some of my thoughts on the rationale for C-C. You know, probably the least intensive commercial use is CN. C-C's in the middle, and then you got CH. I've requested C-C, the applicant did, because there are certain uses within C-C that the applicant believes fit within this type of property, which is an 11,000 square foot warehouse, that are either disallowed in CN altogether or require a conditional use permit for CN. Those are, for instance, just a general contractor's office for light industry, a specialty trade office, which I think we spoke about when I was up there last time before, plumbing services, HVAC services, garage door repair, which it was at one point in the past.
Mr. Chairman, just to help with the applicant, the last 2 pages of your packet is a comparison with districts where it lists a lot of the CC uses.
Appliance repair is another one that is CC. A locksmith, furniture repair. So these uses that I just listed are not allowed in CN either entirely with some of them, or they're not allowed unless you come back and get a conditional use permit. So the thought was, let's request CC, and if there are more intensive uses within CC, a lot of those are addressed already and require a conditional use permit. If you look in your use table, retail sales, pawn shops, mini warehouse self-storage, outdoor entertainment, animal care for grooming and kennels, a car wash, auto repair and maintenance, a building contractor's office for heavy construction, landscaping services. All those require a conditional use permit under CC. So for any of those uses, the applicant would have to come back and get a conditional use permit. So in my mind, CC governs, there's a lot of governing factors here and a lot of limitations that you can do, because you've got to come back to these more intense uses and get a conditional use permit altogether. Now, some of these more intense uses that just don't make sense, I think would never go here, that the neighborhood probably doesn't want to see. Commercial daycare facilities for over 19 people, alcohol sales maybe, or food and beverage, hotel lodging facilities, a shopping center, a taxi service. If we need to limit those, put conditions on the rezoning to disallow those, I think the applicant will be fine with that. We understand where this is located, the applicant does. All they want to do is be able to utilize this property for its highest and best use, which is what that 11,000 square foot warehouse is there for, and has been used for in the past. So, Commissioner Wilkes, to answer your question about would this use continue that's there, I can tell you that my client, James Warren, owns the note on the property and the security on the property. And the owner that's there is currently in default. So I think the intention is probably to work something out with that current owner, take the property back and clean it up and have it used in another way. I think all of us here would agree that we'd like to see something else there. So, I am here to answer any questions you may have.
Do you know, well, I guess you really don't know what the next use would be. And it seems like the only concern is that the only way of access is this residential street. And the big concern there is, will there be excessive traffic trying to get to a commercial use through a residential street, in and out.
Yes, and, you know, we don't, I know Mr. Martin brought up the fact that the rezoning respectively, and it is, but, you know, just because rezoning respectively doesn't render a rezoning request, you know, shouldn't render it just denied. I mean, a lot of rezoning requests are respectively. But I think practicality needs to govern here. I mean, we've got, there's an 11,000 square foot warehouse there. There's only so, we're not talking about vacant land, you know? There's a building there already that's gonna take probably 6 figures to demolish. I mean, it's just not feasible to demolish it. So it's a matter of using this building for what it's there for. But with access, I mean, there is a straight shot out to Homer. If you've ever driven to this building and gone into that cul-de-sac, you'll see that to the, what is that? We're looking north, I guess it'd be the east, you know, on the northern portion of the road, those are mostly vacant lots owned by the county, if you drive straight out to Homer. There may be, you know, 3 or 4 houses on the south as you get further down. There might be 3 or 4 on the north if you go straight out to Homer. But, you know, there are not a lot of residences if you shoot out that way. And I think any use that would go here for a, you know, specialty trade or a appliance repair or a locksmith or, you know, there wouldn't be that much traffic.
And just to clarify, this time your client does not know what they want to put there at
No.
this time, just to
He does
clarify.
not, Commissioner.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nigel.
Thank you.
Well, understanding that, you know, I guess one comment is, as you kind of mentioned, the challenge with this is that the fact that it is speculative and using common sense, since this is a residential neighborhood, why would we put commercial in the residential neighborhood to access through a residential neighborhood? So that's the common sense part. And understanding that it has been used in this capacity for so long, I think, well, for me, that's the biggest reason for even entertaining this conversation, is because of its history. If it wasn't for that, this would be an absolute no-brainer.
I agree. I completely agree.
So, you know, from that perspective, and that standpoint, the concern of what's gonna happen next with it, you know, is this gonna be demolished? Is this gonna turn into, you know, what is it gonna be turned into? Because it's gonna impact the community as a whole. And I do understand the idea of bringing in some new blood, some new life into the community as far as some rezoning components, but still, this is a neighborhood, this is a residential community. And so being able to have that in mind as we start to look at this and kind of understand the decision, I think that's why it's a concern, why it's been mentioned.
Yeah, and I hate to put y'all on the spot with having to look at the use table, and you know, but I think that's what it's gonna take, is looking at that use table right now and going, all right, what does C-C allow that we don't want here, you know? I get that, I understand.
At the end of the day, if the guy was Colonel's, no, they would keep doing business like it is right now.
Well, you're not doing business right now.
I said,
Because right now it's like you're saying yes. It's like you know, the show Married at First Sight. You know, you're saying yes to a blind date, and he can come in and do whatever you want, you know. And Bill, you're saying yes to, you don't know what you're saying, you know. And I understand you just represent them, but it's like, you know, you get married at first sight, you know what you're married to. You look at the dress, you know what you're saying.
Well, and you know, a lot of the problem with this
Well, I'm
is
just
that
saying, that's the problem.
even if there's something operating there now, I don't know if it's legally permitted,
It's questionable,
because
code enforcement.
because of the zoning.
You know, and we talked about this at length, you know, during the character area, particularly at the work session. Just to try and sum some of it up, I boil it down to 2 schools of thought regarding the property and its future. We each take a different school of thought. I think we each understand the general perspective. I could argue this each way. I just choose one school of thought over the other. One is it's the general principle of commercial usage, whether current or in the future, with its only means of access to a residential area, not knowing what that commercial use is gonna be, it raises lots of red flags. I see a non-conforming use there, been there a long time in some shape or form. I would like, staff of the city to have the ability to very closely monitor the non-conforming situation there and take action where needed. I think part of what's happened with this property is out of sight, out of mind. It is not on a commercial corridor. Most people don't even know this is here. Okay, so it's got a very interesting history. So that's one school of thought. The other one is, I think from their perspective, they would like to remedy the property, clean it up, which we're in complete agreement with. They believe the best way to do that is to expand the realm of possible uses. Right now, R6 is very limiting. C-C opens that up quite a bit. I do agree with him, he and I have talked about this at length, of the 3 commercial zonings to choose from, C-C is the better choice. Mainly because it offers a broader range without getting too intensive. And things that might be marginally intensive require conditional use. So we do have a little bit of safeguard there. That school of thought argues that opening the broader range makes the transformation of this property hopefully a little faster. And I understand the 2 different perspectives there.
So with that in mind, I guess one of the questions that I have is, and I'm trying not to have this thing run into 12 o'clock at night. But one of my questions is, with the non-conforming perspective of it, if we were to allow it to stay housed as non-conforming because of its past use, what's the danger with that?
You can't get a business permit.
Right.
Correct.
And there's not one there now.
And that limits the marketability of property. And it'll continue to deteriorate.
Absolutely. Mr. Knight,
Yes, sir.
just out of curiosity, Mr. James Warren, has he been approached with any concerns from the church across the street at all in opposition?
Commissioner, I'm not aware of any. He has not told me of any. And I have not been approached by anybody as well throughout the entire character change process or this rezone process. So I would think if there was someone with concerns with all the postings and the 2 public hearings we've had, we would have probably heard something by now. Yes, sir.
And I can attest to that. This is the 2nd round of public hearings. We have not had any inquiries from anybody. And I would have thought there would have been some, particularly from the property, the church across the street. They are one of the few in that area that actually got a certified letter twice now.
I'd just like to say that Commissioner James Miller's comments were very well taken. I'd just like to sum this up. A lot of good things have been said. This can be complicated or not complicated. Status quo is just not acceptable. That means that we've got something different that's got to get. It's got to get.
Is that final comments? Franklin, look like you got something to say.
We're still in the middle of
All right. Thank you, Mr. Knight.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak against this case? No one is here to speak against. Now would you like to say something, Franklin?
Make a motion so that
I wanted to get to this point before,
Okay.
so if you don't do anything, you're going to imagine, in my opinion, if you're going to imagine what's going to happen, it's going to deteriorate. You will have drug involvement down there, probably there's homeless people going in there. So it's only going to get worse, in my opinion. I think even though it's not the best scenario, I'm thinking go through this list here and say, look, we don't want liquor store, we don't want this, we don't want that on down there. And if put ourselves in people's just living there's place. And we may miss something, but you know, we don't want, I wouldn't think we try to put a nightclub in there or something like that. It would be, that would not, so it's on the list. I'm just using that for example.
I'm telling you, I don't think it's gonna be torn down. I think somebody's gonna go in there like
But you disagree with putting some,
I don't know if we can enumerate all those or not, but
I ain't saying everything, I'm just saying,
I don't know, but
I disagree with trying to go down this list.
you don't,
I
you
think,
do,
you know, the location of the property itself is gonna be limiting who's gonna be interested, because most people wanna have visibility, so the public driving by can see this business, and if they have any interest in it, they can stop and go and do business. This is it.
well, and I get that too, but then we got all that stuff behind, North Hollister Road, and it's all those new metal buildings tucked behind the forest that you ain't got a clue what's back there, but they do in the business, so, and it could be all kind of different businesses, so to say you got storefront might not apply to a garage door company, repair company, or whatever.
not as much.
Yeah. I don't know, $64
But
million.
you wanna leave it open for somebody to put a liquor store in there?
No,
No, but I don't think anybody would.
I don't know, I agree with Chip on that, I don't think that's true.
Are you saying no, we shouldn't, or what? I see him shaking his head down there. I was saying leave it CC and rock on it.
I think Chip's point was that it's not likely at all that someone would put a liquor store in there, so putting that condition on it.
Or build townhouses.
I think we just don't practice it, somebody that sees this building that has a use for it, and they're probably gonna get a bargain per square foot on it, because it's gonna be so off the beaten track that nobody else is really gonna be interested in it. So I don't think that there's really a problem with this motion as it is, I mean, with this, request as it is.
Is that the motion?
Call for a motion.
Yes,
That's the motion, Mr. Chairman.
yes, sir.
Make the motion on the rezoning request, VA-2025-01, for the reasons that we've all just been discussing, we recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion.
Oh,
and
we all did.
a second.
Commissioner Hightower, that's what I have.
The second